flowers bloom in spring. Tell me who gives the air that you breathe. Ooh. Everything that you need, he will provide. So you may as well come on and give him a try. 'Cause he's awesome. Ooh, he's awesome. He's awesome. What would I do without him? Couldn't even do without him. I don't wanna be without him. He's awesome.
What's up, ladies? Welcome to ZMR Ministries. I'm Pastor Z, and today is Friday, so you know it's time for another episode of Girl Talk. Now tonight, our topic is colorblind. Will I date him if he doesn't look like me? Listen, I got two of my girls here, my sisters, my friends. Listen, I cannot wait for us to dig into it. So I got Renee with me.
Hey.
I got my girl Rosze with me.
What's up?
And we're going to talk about, listen, just in case y'all didn't know, Renee is black. I is black. Rosze is not black. So y'all got
Well, I think you should tell them what I am.
Okay, she's Indian because a lot of people think she Mexicana. And she is straight up from India, okay?
No, I'm not Cherokee Indian, like Indian.
Okay, explain it. Because you know black folks be like, I got Indian in my family. Not that kind of Indian. Not Native American. I'm talking about from straight up India.
Yeah, India. Country India.
Tell me what languages you speak.
I speak Punjabi, Hindi, Urdu. So India has 26 different languages. So I speak about 4 or 5 of them fluently and right.
In other words, she ain't black, okay? So
not at all.
So now that you know all of our ethnicities, we're going to be talking about being colorblind in dating.
Yes.
You know, will I date him if he doesn't look like me? Meaning, will I date out of my race? Mm-hmm. And so this is a big topic, right? Mm-hmm. Because, you know, it's easy for men to date outside their race. Mm-hmm. But when we see women do it, it's almost like a gas. We're kind of taken aback, especially in the African American community. Mm-hmm. I ain't trying to be funny. We can see a black man with a white woman or Mexican, Indian, Asian, whatever they are, all day long. But as soon as we see a sister with a white man, it's like,
it's a problem. It's a problem.
All the black folks Serena dated, as soon as she married Olympius, problem. What is his name? Olympius or Olympus? Whatever it is.
Whatever his name is.
He a rich white man. They had an issue with it. So I want to pose the question to my girls. Colorblind. Are you colorblind when it comes to dating?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Why?
I'll date outside my race.
So first question is, have you dated outside your race?
I have.
Okay. Yeah. What'd you date?
African American.
Black. She dated black.
And half black, half Puerto Rican. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he was half, like he was mixed?
Yeah, he was mixed.
Or
I was married to African American black, and then I dated half Puerto Rican, half black.
So you've been from India because I know you have. It's a lot of traditionalism.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm telling you, she's straight up
Indian.
The real thing. Okay. She came over here and she didn't speak no English. Okay.
Not one.
So with you, you know. We know, well, y'all find out in another episode about, you know, your whole background story.
Right.
What was that like, stepping outside of dating in your race to dating outside of it?
Well, in my race, there's no dating where everything is arranged.
I wanted her to say it. I didn't want to tell her business.
It was arranged. So, in other words, I didn't have a choice. So you really don't know what you like until you really grow up.
Wow, that's good.
Because some people go for looks. Looks can be faded away, but it's the inward heart. Like, who are you outside this? Who are you?
Exactly.
What kind of spirit you carry? Are you compatible? Can we build together?
Yeah.
You know?
So when you decided to, we're gonna go to Renee, and then we're gonna come to me. When you decided to date outside your race, was it something you is it something you wanted to try, or you know, was it just cultural as far as you coming from India, moving to New York, and we know that is a melting pot.
Right.
You know, it's almost like everybody dates outside the race, right? So did you feel the pressure or?
But no, because until I was about 26, that's when really I was like, okay, someone approached me. a young man approached
Trying
me.
to holler.
Trying to holler. The first thing he said, who are you? I was like, I'm Rosie Core. I said, Rosie Core. He said, no, not your name, but what are you? Jesus only. You know, I was super saved.
Help, Lord. Help.
He was like, no, you're at this. I said, oh, you don't ask a woman that. He was like, huh? I said, where I come from, you don't ask us that. So that started the conversation. Wow. So it was one of those things to where I'm like, okay, it doesn't hurt to get to know somebody that's outside my culture, outside my race. So it was cool. I was like, okay, cool.
Did it feel weird?
At first it did. It did. Like,
sure.
It was like, but you know what? When we date outside our race, like me, I'm Indian. Like, I think, man, teach the girl your culture. Like, culture.
Wait, no, we gonna dive into that because I want to touch that because we're gonna talk about, apprehensions and inhibitions and, colliding with your cultures. Right. We're gonna get into that.
We're gonna get into that.
Now, Renee.
Yes.
Have you ever dated outside?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, I have, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I've dated Caucasian, but my surrounding and my support system being young like that, we didn't see him as being Caucasian because he actually went to school with all of us. So it was a lot easier, and I would say that was like, middle school-ish. As an adult,
so he had a little flavor.
Yes, he did.
Oh, yeah,
yes, he did. Yes, he did. But in my adult life, I dated half Mexican and half African American.
So he was black. No, he was not. If you're going by the dad, but I also been attracted to other races as well, and to me, it's a preference. You date who you want to date, and like you said earlier, it's okay for the African American man, not dogging you brothers out, but it's okay for you guys to date whoever you want to date, but as soon as we date outside of our race, we get the ugly looks, we get all of this, because the first thing you do, you take offense and make it seem like that, you guys are not good enough, or they
whatever.
take it personally.
Okay. Absolutely,
it's a personal attack against
but
them.
it goes both ways because some of my sisters, we get upset too. You want to keep it real. Athletes are prone to date outside of their race, and we get mad because we look at your mama.
Well, we have to understand why there is some upset there, which we're gonna get to that too. I want to jump ahead, but there's definitely some upset there, but there's a reason. I'm not trying to give you brothers a pass. We don't care about what you date or who you date, but you ain't got to down us to justify why you date outside your race.
Didn't we see a post about something like that where a famous person who I would not name is currently engaged to be married outside of his race, and the post was crazy. The comments was absolutely crazy, with some African American men dogging us African American women out and justifying why he should.
That's insecurity.
That's ridiculous.
It's
that's
insecurity and it's immaturity.
And it is.
For me personally, yes. The answer is yes. I have dated outside my race. I have no shame in saying I dated outside my race. I wouldn't say Caucasian. He was white. He was white chocolate.
You say white chocolate. Okay, and he had some swirl in him.
Listen. He had some swag, okay?
Okay.
So it was me growing up, I saw uncles dating white women. I have a lot of biracial cousins. So it was nothing out of the ordinary. I had never, growing up, I had crushes on white guys. Actually, my family is always saying we would not be shocked. Zanya is the one that would definitely marry a white girl. Listen, blue eyes. Okay, so if you look at just across the board, he was white with blue eyes, honey. You know, so it was yeah. So I had never. It wasn't a consideration, right? I had never just sat up and thought about, oh, I'm gonna date outside my race. It was kind of something that just happened. One of my professors, which is crazy, in college called me up after class, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm already borderline failing her class because I hated history. But she was just like, you know, I think you're so pretty. I've watched you for a whole year. And I was like, okay, weirdo. But then she started talking about her son. And she's like, I want you to see pictures of my son. And I was like, okay, whatever. Let's get to it. So she whipped out the picture. And I was like, okay. How you setup. You know, so it was kind of like that. And when I actually met him, it was over the telephone. And he was like real hood. And I was like, is he sure? You know, you sure this your son on the phone? Is this a prank? And what I learned about him was, you know, he didn't grow up privileged, even though he was born into what we consider privileged because he was white. But he grew up in the country. Around a bunch of black folks. He got in the same trouble as them. He got profiled just like them. So that's what I mean by he had a lot of swag, you know. I've never dated, I guess I would say a straight up white dude.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, hello, my name is, you know, Bradley. Oh, you know,
you are so crazy.
He had a lot of swag to him, right? Okay. And so, but even though I had seen that in my family, I had biracial cousins, there was still some apprehensions bringing them home. And I remember the first time I called my dad, I was bringing him to a family barbecue. Family barbecue.
The family barbecue.
I did, and I remember I called my dad. I was like, Dad, you know, I'm bringing my new friend. You know, black folks call your boyfriend or whatever your friend. Oh, that's her little friend. And I was like, I'm dating this new guy, Dad. And he was like, okay. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, great. I want to meet the young man. And I was like, he white. I said it just like that. He white. And there was this silence, and I was ready for it. I was like, okay. And he goes, well, sweetheart, it could be worse. He could be blue or purple.
Wow. I love that.
And so I was like, okay. So when he came, you know, my family talked to him, and it was those, you know, you were waiting to hear the juice from your cousins and your aunties, especially your aunties. And I remember one of my aunts looked at me, and she was like, okay, don't get in trouble now. I see them blue eyes. I was like, baby, ain't no babies coming up out of here. Ain't no mixed cheering. I'm still in college, okay? But it was kind of like one of those things where you still didn't know if it was acceptable. You still didn't know, and it's not just from society, because from society we could say, oh, people are very accepting of it now, but they're not.
Especially in this time.
Right. And I didn't realize the inbred racism that was still there until we started going out. Right. And I remember my god sister Candace, she's white. What's that, Candace? She's white. And I remember she was married to a black guy at the time. And the first time we went out, we went to Olive Garden. And I remember, you know, some white people passing by us, and they were giving us bad stares. And I was like, are you serious? You know, I kind of ignored it. Right. Let me tell you where it hit me. Is when we were walking in, and our little buzzer went off. And there was an elderly black couple coming out, and the black guy looked at me and said, come on, sister.
Wow.
And I was kind of taken aback.
Wow.
Because I couldn't believe. So I remember calling Candace, and I was like, you know, this happened to me. And she was like, oh, that's normal.
Wow.
You can expect that. Zanya, everybody's not accepting of that. And so when you think about being colorblind, you have to take all of that into consideration. What are some, you know, apprehensions, some inhibitions, some I guess some concerns that you all had when you decided to date outside your race?
I think it's definitely, for me, it was the culture. Culture shock. You go to the family outing, everyone does things different.
Right.
Everyone grows up different. So definitely there was some adaptability.
Because you don't know the rules.
Yeah, you don't know the rules.
Yeah.
Everyone has different rules.
Right.
So that was for me to make sure that I was able to fit the expectations of being Indian and dating, outside the race, and to looked upon who is she, you know. I have a bold personality. I'm loving and
Really?
you know.
You bold, really?
Yeah, like, hey, how you doing? I'm just like, cool, But then after, the first meeting, the second meeting, third meeting, I was like, okay, are you gonna, and I don't want to feel uncomfortable going around your family. Will you just school me on some of your culture and stuff?
Come on,
Yeah,
where you learn that word?
Will you just prepare me? Don't just take me around. Just prepare me. Give me code words.
That's wisdom.
Yeah, because I didn't want to. Number one, his family was looking at it like, who is she? So I'm thinking he might have a different chick the last week.
Yeah. I mean, it's safe to feel that way.
I'm just like, they're looking at my face, and he's telling me he's been single all this time, but his family's giving me looks like, what's up? What am I missing?
Right.
Wow.
So,
what about you, Renee? What were some apprehensions?
What people thought at that time, dealing with the opinions of others. When it's just us, and you be in your own world, sometimes our world collides. It was also the culture as well, understanding what they do, how they do it, and why they do it. Even though you have an African American parent, that doesn't mean that you totally embrace
The African American.
that's right.
culture.
Yeah.
So it was getting to know, even all the way down to religion. Their religion was different. We traditional Baptists or holiness and things like that.
She said holiness.
Pentecostal.
and how I feel,
Yeah.
But then you have Catholics, who practice Catholicism. So that was their number one religion base. So the difference of opinion, but we got through that because at that time, we liked each other, we were into each other, but it was a combination of what people would think, not my family, because like you, I have Caucasian, because of my uncle, rest in peace, Uncle David, he was dating a Caucasian woman and they had a child. So I remember when they broke up, things got ugly and it became a reality of we are just still African Americans because the family was never accepted of us.
Yeah.
So, just like you said about culture and what people think, what they thought, because I got the looks. I got the stares. Sometimes people was looking to see if he was really African American.
Right.
But the way that he dressed, the way that he talked, told that he was not. So
you know what? It's so interesting because when we stay within the confines of our race, those kind of things you don't even think about.
No,
because the thing about it is, even though you're black, don't mean y'all have the same beliefs. Don't mean you have the same morale. Don't mean that you have the same, I guess, cultural system. It doesn't mean any of that. But you go into it without any walls, because you're thinking, okay, we're the same race. You know what I'm saying? We have the same beliefs. We have the same values. Our families think the same, which it's not necessarily true, right? I know for me, there were no apprehensions in regards to racism. I got it from outside, right?
Right.
I didn't ever think, oh, well, when I meet his family, I'm going to go through that because all the Caucasian people that's in my family, associated with my family, we never had that issue.
Right.
And so you go in thinking, oh, well, that was my experience with these white people. That's going to be across the board. I had met his mom. I had met his siblings. I had met other people until it was his grandmother.
Wow.
Right?
On down the line.
Right. And she was older. She was like in her 80s. And I remember I was sitting next to him and we were talking and his grandmother called and I remember her saying, I heard you're dating a nigga.
What?
And I was like, what? And I remember him going from excitement because, he really liked me. And he was glad his mom introduced us. I mean, we had fun, right? For months. And I remember he was taken aback. And him and his grandmother were super close.
Wow.
She was literally like a second mom to him. And when that happened, I think it shocked him. Because he hadn't seen it or heard it until he dated me.
Wow.
So it's like it was a shocker for me, like, oh, whoa, this is real. This isn't just TV. This isn't just something you hear through the grapevine or anything like that. People are really like this. And I think it shocked him because you go your whole life thinking, oh, we don't believe like that. Wow. We're not like, those other racist white people. And now somebody that you love and that you thought you were close to, you thought you knew, is saying, what are you doing?
Right.
Because that's his grandmother. So he never heard her speak in that derogatory term.
And it really damaged their relationship. And so it became a thing where I was like, okay, we don't have to go there. Like, you can don't pick me over your grandmama. This your grandmama.
Right.
And it really it severed their relationship for a while.
I'm sure.
And she was so hurt that she eventually she had gotten sick. She found out I think she had diagnosed with cancer. And she called him, and I remember she was crying, and she was saying, I'm sorry. If that's who you care about and that's who you love, I want to accept her. I would like to meet her. But by that time, my family was like, you better not go over there. They was like, don't you go over there. Okay, accept her apology. You stay your black behind over here. And I remember I was laughing with him. I don't want to say what I said because y'all know I'm a little crazy. I don't want to offend nobody, but I was like, nah, I'm good. I ain't gonna be no strange fruit.
Come on. Come on.
I mean, I don't know if Rosie know what I'm talking about, but we explained it after girl talk. But I was just like, and my family felt the same. Right. They were like, you don't know if that's just something to get you there, where she blames you for ruining their relationship, and then you get there thinking it's peaceful, and then we don't hear from you
something else, and then
y'all don't find me.
Yeah.
And so it was just like using wisdom in that, which she did. I talked to her on the phone, but sadly she passed away like very shortly after that. I'm talking about like a couple of weeks after that.
Wow.
And so it was that type of my thing was naivety.
Right.
Because I went in automatically thinking, well, my god sister's white, my uncle's married to a white woman, I have biracial cousins, I grew up in the hood, so we were the majority. There were a couple of white people, but they were the minority, and they weren't racist because we all in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And so it was one of those things where my naivety got the best of me.
Wow.
Where it really did get the best of me. And some people can relate. They went in thinking, of course, nobody's like this. And then that was my first brush with, oh my God, a white person called me the N-word.
Wow.
I've heard the term before, and this is not what this segment is about. I know it's about colorblind.
Right.
But put a spin on that. Some people are colorblind even within their race.
Right, absolutely.
You can't go this shade darker or this shade lighter.
Right.
And it goes back to what I was saying. It's like it's really a preference.
Right.
Then you have to dig deep for the root issue of why it's a preference, because truth of the matter is God made all. And I know people go back to the Bible and they be talking about, when he talks about, we're not supposed to stay with your kind, and okay. But
that's love taking out.
Right. Exactly. That's why I say they'll go back to that. But you love who you love, and if I'm an African American female, which I am,
come on,
my splendor, and I am attracted
in all my splendor,
and I am attracted to a Caucasian or an Indian or anything, and I decide that I want to marry them, then that's my prerogative.
That's your business, yeah.
That's my business. And I just think that we as a society, we as people, period, we're judgmental. But dating interracially now, and this temperament this climate that we all involved in, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's really rough. People are really catching it. I mean, people are becoming more outspoken than they have in a long time. So, it making people uncomfortable to a point where now it's almost like we gotta protect what our territory, and it shouldn't be like that. You should respect people of their choices and let them marry whatever race they want to marry.
Right.
So why do you think women get more backlash for dating outside their race than men?
That's a good question. For African American women, I think I want to go back to slavery. The raping that occurred.
Right.
And they feel like it wasn't a field. It was disgusting. It was disrespectful to the African American man, period. And them being sold off, and then they taking the babies and things of that nature. So I think that it transcends people look at it like that. We're like, hey, when you talk about what happened in our history, you talk about what occurred.
Right,
It's still a sting there.
Right.
From generation to generation to generation. And I think that's what it is. And then also, to be honest too, Zanya and Rosie, I'm going to tell you, it also got to do with insecurity too. It's almost like an African American man, my brothers had, with their cake and they want to eat it too. They can do whatever they want to do, but it's like the difference when it's like, no, you're supposed to stay quiet. You're supposed to stay in your race. You're supposed to desire us, even though us is not even loving and respectful to us. That's not cool at all. So
now, Rosie, I want you to piggyback on this. I mean, I know we're all talking, but I definitely want you to piggyback, because for you it's a lot different because of the traditionalism in your family, having arranged marriages. You really didn't have an option. You get what I'm saying? So what was that like, even or for men in your culture, who was that even a thing for them to date outside their culture, or was it just like we're all arranged and that's it?
Well, I think when I was growing up in India, it wasn't, you didn't talk about dating. You already automatically knew that you are going to be, arranged to somebody. So there was not a thing. But now, because of social media, because of the cultures are changing, Indian culture is adapting, most of the things that the Western culture are doing. They're watching movies, doing it. So I think now it has become the norm to where it used to be where you couldn't marry outside your religion. Like India has so many different religions: Sikhism, Hinduism, Buddhism, all of that, different kind. So if you were Sikh, you were only supposed to marry a Sikh. If you was a Hindu, you could only marry a Hindu, and everybody's ceremonies were different. So I think now, when I was growing up back in the 90s, it wasn't a thing where you already automatically knew. You already knew when you was getting ready to go to high school, you couldn't like nobody. This wasn't the right thing to do. In India particularly, the boy sits on one side and the girl sits on one side. And so it was like literally you were separated. But now I see things have changed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you know what? I want to. No, it's me. I'm scratching. Rosie, like, yeah, someone. That wasn't a cold. That was my chin itching. But I want to jump from that for a second and talk about hypocrisy within our own race. Because if I can be honest,
I want you to be honest. Because I love your honesty.
You know what? I didn't think it was going to be anything less than honesty.
Well,
go ahead.
Here's the deal. So I really want to be honest, completely transparent, because I would be lying if I said I didn't feel some type of way when I see another black athlete with another white woman on their arm, or just going down the street and I see a black dude with a white chick. I'm like, you couldn't. All of us sisters walking, especially living in Atlanta. It's plenty of black folks to go around, right? And I feel that way not because I have any personal offense towards them or vendetta or you couldn't go get a black chick. I think it's the stigma that comes with it, or that has been created. Like black women ain't good enough to be on your arm.
Yeah.
You know, or we're an embarrassment to be on your arm, or this white woman is a better look for your career, or you know, the bashing that I talked about earlier. Why do we have to be put down to justify why you're deciding to date a white woman? I don't care who you date, but I would be lying if I said innately I didn't feel just a piece of it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And don't come for me. Don't attack me, okay? Just don't do it. I ain't got no reason for it. Just don't do it. Please don't, amen. Y'all pray for Pastor Z. Y'all keep me right, amen. But I'm just saying, you know, I will be lying, and I think if a lot of us are honest,
it will be better.
And you know what? And it's not just when I was dating. I almost said his name. When I was dating a white guy, I remember some black guys, because I was in college. I remember some black guys on campus were offended, right? And I remember I was working at the student center, and a lot of the athletes came through there, which was normal. But this particular day, you know, it was like a little batch of them, and I was like, okay, they ain't never all together. You know what y'all doing? They was like, hey, I was like, what's up? We heard you was dating that white dude, and I was like. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like, we just friends.
Wow.
I did. I'm keeping it all the way 1,000.
Wow.
I was like, what makes you think we're dating just because you see us together? Man, y'all, I'm telling you, I saw you because he dropped you. Like, he had a whole thing, and he was right. Yeah. And I was like, just because you see somebody drop me off, like, I'm going off. Just because you see somebody drop me off don't mean that we dating. And I realized in that moment, like, why are you shamed?
Exactly.
Why do you feel like, you know, you can't be honest and say, you know, I'm dating? And I remember one of the guys was really offended. He was with them, but he wasn't saying anything. He actually talked to me later, and he was like, you know, I've been trying to get at you for the longest. I know you was with your dude, because I was dating this other dude on and off for like 7 years. And he was like, and then y'all break up, and this is what you choose? And I thought for a moment, like, should he be upset?
No, because he should have shot his shot.
Well,
don't get me started. Like, come on, you should have shot your shot.
Well, I think what he was trying to say is, I've been trying to holler, and instead of
did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that, but
okay.
When he was trying to holler, I was in a relationship. I think he was coming from the stance of the moment that you get free from that relationship, you choose this white dude.
Yeah. And
don't even consider. And honestly, that wasn't even what it was about. It was like opportunity presented itself, and I didn't know it was gonna go into something like a full-fledged what's up, you know.
He just wasn't. You didn't get chosen.
But the purpose, Renee, the purpose of me telling or sharing that was. It goes both ways. Like, you know, obviously they were offended. And I'm like, some of them, I don't even know y'all like that. We're not friends. We don't kick it like that. We not cool like that. What are you mad for? And I think it was an attack on, I guess, their black manhood. You know, like, here's another one of our sisters, and she out here dating. And mind you, I went to school in Commerce, Texas, which is a super white racist town. Okay.
Wow.
And I mean, even when he and I would go out, we got the looks. And I remember he told me, he said, listen, I was raised around here. I was raised in Greenville, Texas. He was like, this whole area around here, they racist. Some places we would go, he would be like, don't go there by yourself. Or he would hold my hand real close. And I'm like, bro, you know me. I'm like, what are we doing? He's like, nah, I'm trying to tell you what it is. And I started learning that for myself. Wow. I started seeing it for myself. So I understood, you know, the concern. Because he grew up around it, and he probably saw a whole lot more than you know, what he was telling me. But the hypocrisy that's within our own culture, or even within your own, you know, is the idea that men get to do whatever they want. But when it comes to us,
we can't.
It's a problem. Do you guys find yourselves having some type of hypocrisy?
Yeah, an Indian man will see an Indian woman with a black male or a white male, they'll be offended. And if an Indian woman see, I don't know how, you know, how they feel, because we in Indian women didn't have no say so.
Right.
So it was just like whatever. But I'm pretty sure when I was married, when I was dating, that's half African American, half Puerto Rican, he kind of sort of looked Indian, so people really didn't think he was outside. So I seen the difference, the looks when we are out at the mall with the kids, different things. It didn't have much of a difference than if I'm with an African American and they're African American, then you got all Indians looking like. But you love who you love, you choose who you choose, and you do what you want to do, whatever fulfills you, you know. So.
But you never had a feeling of, a hypocritical thought, like, what is she doing with that black guy? What is he doing with the Indian lady or
yeah, but
like
I think my mindset, because growing up was just like
it was no choice.
Yeah,
right.
So now it's just like my mind is set, like
right.
Wherever your thought goes, that's where you go. Not trying to be deep, so I really don't think about it. If you happy, you cute, I'ma compliment you. Oh my goodness, goals. Like, I'm not a hater. I'm gonna celebrate you. If that's what makes you happy, y'all like it, I love it. Right, so that's the mindset I developed, but I can't talk for nobody else.
Yeah.
For me, it's different. I've been on both sides. I've been the one that had a type within my race.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they had to be light with the curly hair. I don't know where that comes from, but I do know where that comes from. That comes from me being insecure because I was always classified. You're a pretty dark skinned girl.
You cute to be dark.
Yeah, you're a pretty little chocolate girl. And I'm like, okay, stop. So I took that on, and then what I did was to say that I have arrived, or to say that I was acceptable. I dated light.
Right.
And he had to have the natural curly hair. I don't know where that part come in, but I like the pretty. I like the pretty boys. And then when I grew up, like now, I'm 52, so
you what?
What?
52.
What?
Girl.
1969. But
she done gave y'all her age.
Hey.
Save, sent the vibe.
But it failed.
And single.
And single. No, I ain't gonna finger. Okay.
Point. We all single, matter of fact. Don't let these purity rings fool you. We ain't got no man.
No.
I got this stasha on.
My last name is still the same that my dad gave me.
Come on,
but
girl.
she
still got the last name
that my dad gave me.
She still got her dad's
my dad's last name. But in all fairness, now you like who you like. If I'm attracted to a man outside of my race, I would date him. And I wouldn't care what nobody think, what nobody thought, because at the end of the day, I'm the one that have to deal with whatever comes with it. And if I'm okay with it, then I expect for everybody else to be. And that comes from maturity, because you understand that everybody have an opinion. Everybody has a preference, and we have free will, the ability to choose. So I'm gonna exercise my free will, and I'm gonna date who I want to date.
Come on.
Whether they African American, whether they Indian.
Look, she been throwing that Indian.
I mean, hey, and whether they Puerto Rican. I work with Indians, so
okay, girl.
So they
I gotta teach you the language so you can holler.
So it's my preference. It's girl talk. Hey.
She's like, okay.
But it's my preference, So I think that comes with maturity, and that comes with understanding if I like it.
And you know what? We limit ourselves.
We do.
When we don't, and I get it. I get that some of us, we have black pride. Some of us feel like our race has been whitewashed. We have to keep the purity of our race, which no race is really pure if we just be completely. Is that your boob? Did I say your boob? I'm sorry. My bad. Sorry, girl talk. But you get those kind of people, or whatnot. Like I said, everything is preferences, and it goes back to the way that you are taught, the way that you're brought up. You have to choose to adopt a different perspective.
Yeah.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. I will say for a lot of us women, especially in the Black culture, we limit ourselves by saying we only want to date Black men. And when you make the decision to say, you know what, I'll date outside my race, you're giving yourself more options.
Right.
And you know, and I just think it's putting you in a box. Your man may be out there, you may be single and just like, Lord, I can't find nobody. And he like, well, that's because you won't go over here with these white folks. Or you want to go over here with these Indian folks. Or you want to go with the Hispanic folks. Or it's a nice Asian man over there that you ain't looking at because you talking about, ooh, his eyes too tight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no offense. No offense, y'all. No offense. But you hear all these different reasons, you know, just in conversation as to why, you know, I mean, I've heard it. I just need me a good Black man. Well, every Black man you dated has, you know, degraded you. You may want to try something different. I know with my personal experience, we were both able to separate other people's beliefs, other people's, you know, stigma that they tried to put on us, and we just defined who we are. We looked at each other as people. Not that we totally disregarded the reality of racism, of some people won't accept it, of, you know, whatever other inhibitions that we had towards each other with the stigma of how society looks at us being together. It was hard conversations. But what I found is that we found that we had more in common than anything else. When we really got to the root of everything, it was like we really are the same. And you hear that, and you don't. And of course, we know there are huge differences. We're not on the same playing field when it comes to society. But as a person, we were on the same. You know, on the same page. And you know, I think it was divinely orchestrated anyway because I introduced him to Christ.
Right.
He ended up getting, honey, you don't get Jesus when you're with me. Don't let this tripping out fool you. But I introduced him to Christ. He ended up getting saved. He's an ordained minister now. I mean, after we stopped talking and everything, he went on and he married a pastor's daughter who was a missionary.
Wow.
And they ended up planting his father-in-law planted another church. They started a prison ministry, put him over that church, and he's literally just on fire for God. And so, from the last I heard, I don't know where he at now. So if y'all see him, they tell me, Zion, you said you. I don't know where you at now, but he was really running for Jesus. Like he was just like, you were the best thing that happened to me. Yeah. And I knew Jesus was the best thing because he was speaking through me, and I was able to win you. And now, you know, but had I allowed, when you think of it in retrospect, had I allowed just, you know, I got to date in my race. Who knows? He would have never came to know Jesus. You know, he would have never been a blessing to that family, to that ministry. Now he's winning souls for, you know, the prison ministry, and now they planted this other church and whatever else they are doing. But look how God orchestrated it.
Right.
And God don't see color.
No.
So why should we?
No.
Right. I think everyone has a purpose in their life. Every heartache, every heartbreak. If you really look back at, if God didn't remove that, you would not know who you are, your value.
Right.
So we have a purpose and season for everything in somebody's life. If it wouldn't be for me being open to whatever, and I think I would have never was introduced to a church world, because people that I was around, you know, my family or people I work with, nobody really, you know, brought Christ.
Right.
But then when I really opened myself to have friends that were different than me and looked different than me, I was able to adapt. I was able to go to a Christmas event. They invited me, that I knew that there was a church right there. So like you said, you introduced him to Jesus. That's how, you know, I wasn't, even though I had a crossover experience, but it was because of I was open to new. I was open to embrace new. I was open. If I would have just stayed in my Indian culture, I probably was still serving at the temple, still doing things. But you never know what God has for you when you open yourself and you embrace yourself to be like, I'm open to whatever it's coming my way.
And also the route that we choose as well. I like what you said, that God, if you open, how God will move. Also, it's how God try to get your attention as well.
Right.
So it's, for me, being hard-headed and not really dealing with the issue that plagued me, because, there was, racism. I mean, I was born in 1969, so I was a victim of being called the N-word, and me and my mom and my brother, sitting in a car, and we was at a store, and somebody drove up and called us Dad. Look at them, and I asked my mom what that word meant, and so it's like from that to even being judged even amongst your peers. You want the acceptance and want to be loved and want to be equal around people that's supposed to be innocent, but then you in middle school and they always preferring, in my case it was light skin with long hair. You know what I mean? They was the most pretty girl. They was, even when I was modeling for Dark and Lovely, even my agent was picking everybody else but me, saying, oh, they're gonna pick you, oh, they're gonna make you're gonna make the box, you're gonna do this. But it was me that gave you that money. It was me that they chose. They didn't choose none of those women. It was me that so being a victim of that, and then just going and have to have somebody who light skinned, and he gotta look like this just to solidify who I was. God even allowed my choice to bring me back to a point of healing.
Yeah.
Right.
So now I can sit here and say, you know what? God sees no color. If I like him, he treats me with respect, he honors me, he does this or that. I'm gonna give it my shot, and I don't care.
Right. And it's so interesting how we receive backlash for dating outside of our race, but they're the ones that's creating insecurity.
Right.
The insecurity, we can take it back to slavery days, and say, it went back to the house N-words versus the field N-words.
They are always
and this, that, and the third. Yeah, we can pinpoint where it goes back to, but the reality of it is, a lot of the insecurities within the Black woman was created within our own race.
Right.
And so I hear Renee saying, she dated fair skin, because that was, she was like, oh, well, that's better, or, with us being talked about because we were darker skinned. Lighter is prettier, is what we were taught. Not saying that is, because that ain't always true. All my sisters are beautiful, but whatever. Y'all pray.
Okay.
Y'all pray. What I'm saying.
Girl talk.
I'm gonna get this camera on, y'all. But I'm just saying, you go around and you hear things like that. Like the two guys that I dated, they had never dated a dark skinned girl. Like every one of their girlfriends were always light skinned, not necessarily the pretty hair. And I'm like, I'm chocolate, I'm cute, and I got good hair. Amen. I got for real Indian in my family. Not your kind of Indian, but Native American. Y'all see my granny hair down her back. Okay? My hair is the same way. Hey, granny. But what I'm saying is, you grow up with that and you believe it.
Right.
You believe it until you start realizing who you are and how beautiful you are. And then, when people say things like, oh, you pretty to be dark.
Right.
I used to think that was a compliment until I matured and started loving myself, and I was like, hold up, I'm pretty. Period. Not because
my skin
come on, you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? And it's statements like that, or like my ex, he said, I never dated a black girl because a dark skinned girl because I thought all dark skinned girls was ugly. I was like, how? How did you think all them? And he was just saying, I never looked at them. Then when I met you, I was like, oh, she pretty.
Wow.
And it was it was validated from like his sister and his family when they saw me. They was like, oh, she's so pretty. So it was like an encouragement for him, like, oh, she really is pretty. And I'm like, fool, Nabal. I'm pretty whether they said I was cute or not. Right. I ain't got no issues in the confidence area, amen. Right. I have plenty of confidence. All I'm saying is, a lot of times, especially men, black men, whether you from India or whatever, a lot of the reasons why women will date outside their culture, not saying that this is the only reason why, but I'm just piggybacking on what my sis said. A lot of the reasons why we will opt out is because of the mental abuse,
verbal,
verbal abuse, how you guys have torn us down, emotional. You know what I'm saying? When you think about, these athletes who tear us down just to justify why they will rather have a Caucasian, young lady on their arm, it's not to say that she isn't a good woman. It's not to say that she don't have value. Yeah. It's not to say, and I hate it when they tear them down as well, because they say black women have an attitude problem. She don't give me lips. So now you're just saying that she not just submissive, but she just do whatever you tell her to do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
She gonna agree. So now you're calling her weak.
Right.
And it's like, whether you black, white, whatever you are, all the other ethnicities, blue, yellow, purple, like my daddy said, blue or purple, whatever you are, know your worth, know your value.
Yes.
Don't just stand by anybody. If you're with somebody right now and he has to tear down another woman of color just to justify why you have him on your arm, listen, he gonna turn around and do it to you.
Yes. Right. It's the same way you get him. It's the same way you get him.
Listen.
And that is so true.
Listen. And so, just to close us out, because we're gonna wrap it up, I want you guys to encourage other young ladies or other women who, are on the fence or, about dating outside their culture. They're looking at this and they're like, I am colorblind. I only want a black man. And then, they'll be by themselves the rest of their life. What encouragement would you give them to say just to consider it?
Be whole.
That part.
What'd you say?
She said be
whole.
Be
Girl,
whole.
I thought she had something. I was like, Renee.
No.
See
WHOLE.
Be
Okay.
whole. Get healing. Start
I was
looking
like, wait a minute. We gonna have to block that out?
No. Be whole. WHOLE. Just look at the reason why you're choosing what you're choosing. And be real about that.
Right.
If it's because what other people think, like, is it really because you feel like that's a desire of what you want, or is it really because of some sort of adverse reaction? You've been abused mentally, physically, emotionally. Think about that. Be whole first before you make any decision, because whatever you are, that's what you attract. So if you're sick, you're gonna attract somebody else sick.
No matter what color.
No matter what the color is. So look at why you choosing what you should. Think about it before you even make a decision like that. That's what I would say.
Listen, I definitely agree. I would say be who you are. Don't pretend. Like, a lot of times I think we let our representatives show up and we do so much to prove that you should choose me, or this is what, just be who you are. Be real. Be relevant. And work on you. When you work on you, some of you, I've been divorced, so I'm single, and I could talk to a divorced woman that's single. Why are you waiting? Build your dreams. Live on purpose. Work on your credit. Work on so that way when you do find, or when you do attract somebody, you're not going to attract an assignment or a project. Come on. You are going to, when you are whole. I know, right? But when you have built yourself up to a point where when the man comes, only thing he has to offer is his loyalty, then you have become you really an asset, and no man want a woman that is needy.
Liability. No matter what color you eat,
no matter what color.
You are
so
asset,
I say,
baby.
Learn who you are, what you like, date you. Find what you like, because a lot of times women have expectations and they're expecting something from a man. It doesn't matter what race he is, and you don't even know what you want, and you have expectations of him of something you don't know what you like, and you mad. So just work on you, sis.
Yeah.
What Rosie said.
What she said.
I would say just be open.
Yeah.
Be open, and that's in every aspect. Be open to date outside your race. Be open to consider it. If you're already open to date outside your race, you know, like Rosie said, keep it 1,000. Be yourself, but be open to learn.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just because you date outside your race don't mean you gonna marry outside your race.
Right.
Just because you know you married outside your race don't mean you gonna stay married. Don't mean you gonna stay married. Just because you married inside your race don't mean that you ain't gonna, you know, whatever. I ain't speaking the voice. The devil is a liar. No, I'm just what I'm saying is, ladies, just be open. Because you may be missing your blessing. Yeah. And not only that, you may be missing an assignment that God has orchestrated for you. Like I was saying, dating the white guy. You know, I thought, my teacher probably thought I'm just hooking my son up with this pretty black girl. Not knowing that it was all God ordained leading him to Christ. You never know. Give God the opportunity to show out.
That's
your life.
That's good.
That's good.
That's good.
You can't
give God the opportunity.
Come on.
That can preach right there. Give God the opportunity.
Baby, Renee over here, girl, you know my shoulder.
Listen, that almost had me like,
But no, ladies, stay completely open. Don't put limitations on yourself. You may be blocking your blessing. Mm-hmm. You know, I know we've been joking a lot, but there were a lot of very serious nuggets that I want you guys to get and understand. Be whole. Yeah. Be real. Mm-hmm. And be open. Yeah. I'm gonna say it again. Be whole, be real, and be open. Because, you know, the blessings are out there. Sometimes we don't get it or we not open to receive it because of our own personal fears, because of our own personal traditions, and because of our own limitations we put on ourselves. So again, be whole, be real, and be open. Okay?
Bless y'all.
Thank y'all so much for joining me, Renee.
That was good.
Rosie, I appreciate y'all for joining me for another, night of Girl Talk. Listen, ladies, I pray that you guys have listened to this conversation, that you laughed with us, that you agree with us. Even if it's some things you don't agree, listen, we're open. We're open for conversation. We're open for correction. We're open to have our view to see another perspective.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Right. We're not beyond reproach, and we don't think our way is perfect. We're just speaking from our own experience, okay? Thank y'all for joining us for another Friday night of Girl Talk. Y'all know what it is. Every Friday, we're here right here every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna have a new topic. We're gonna have some more of my girlfriends with me, and we're gonna be talking about the real. We're gonna be talking about the raw, all while keeping it 100% classy. So thank y'all for joining us. Y'all have a beautiful weekend. Be open, ladies. Your white champion may be out there. See y'all later. Right.
And your black stallion.
And your Indian stallion, whatever else, he may be out there. Stay open, get whole, and keep it real, ladies. We'll see y'all next week. See you later. Bye.
I've been knocked down, but I'm not knocked down. And I'm about to start pushing again. I'll be back up before I count to 10. Get your minds, get your brains, let's do it. Get your body, get it up, now move it forward. We gotta keep it pushing. Flavor in my corner, so I gotta keep it pushing. Get your mind, get your brains, get your body, get it up, move it forward. We gotta keep it pushing. Mellow. Day and night, I'm so blessed. I can move everybody part with no stress. When they see me, man, they say they want a contest. You talking negative and envy, I put it to rest. Cause I'm headstrong, I got my mind back. And if you really want yours, you